This morning's guest drives 3 hours to work. Meet him. Coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at Advanced Audiology and Hearing Aid Center off of Highway 17 and 6th Avenue South, across from the main post office in North Myrtle Beach. We're focused on a mission of public service, and we're visiting with Senator Dick Elliott of Senate District, is it 28?
28.
28 up here in this area. And of course you serve a lot of the viewers in our area, up into Marion, even into Marlboro County.
The district covers parts of Horry, Marion, Dillon, and Marlboro County.
Dillon as well.
It goes all the way almost up to Charles, South Carolina, up Highway number 9. Number 9 is sort of the center line of the district.
Right. Well, that's tremendous. A lot of our viewers in Marlboro County and even up into Chesterfield. Chesterfield's actually in the Charlotte TV market. Interestingly, it's in the Charlotte TV market, but Marlboro is here in this area, obviously, and surely Dillon and Marion and Horry. That's fascinating, Dick. Do you I guess you have to travel up into that area quite a bit to see your constituency.
It's a large district, but I enjoy the travel. I enjoy the diversity of the people that I serve.
Right.
It's a lot of difference between the ocean front and the Grand Strand.
Right.
Up through Marion, Dillon, and Marlboro counties. It's a different society, different culture, but I enjoy meeting all the people and working with them.
That's probably one of the longest districts in the out of the 46 senators serving in the state Senate.
I believe this probably is the longest from one side to the other. I'm sort of envious of those senators that have a district that they can ride a bicycle across in about 20 minutes, you know. My district takes me about an hour and 45 minutes to go from one side to the other.
Is that right?
So it takes a lot of time out there to do small things like helping somebody that they need my service, my presence for 30 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
It's often a 3.5 hour, 4 hour task to get to see him and chat with him.
That's fascinating. You know, Senator Cleary was with us a couple of weeks ago, and he talked about his district, I guess formerly Senator Ravenel's district, going from more or less 501 down into Charleston, so much like your own, quite a bit of area to travel.
Both Senator Ray Cleary and Senator Ravenel are great friends of mine, and I recall Senator Ravenel used to say that his district sort of went away at high tide. It was sort of like a cigar in high tide. It didn't have a district on it.
Oh, yeah.
So Ray has a lot of that territory, and he has the same makeup, similar to what I have.
Yeah.
Mine goes along to the North Carolina, South Carolina line.
Of course, that's exactly right. How exciting. Are you originally from the area? Do you mind if we call you Dick?
Dick would be fine.
Okay,
certainly.
Instead of Senator Elliott, it's a Tuesday morning. I hope you had a good Labor Day yesterday.
Had a great time and with the family, and so we had a wonderful holiday.
Great, good. Are you originally from the area, Dick?
I grew up in Kershaw County, outside of Camden.
Okay.
And most of my family and relatives still live in that area. I had one brother and 5 sisters. 3 of my sisters are still alive, and several of my brother-in-laws and other members of relatives and so forth. Sure. Most of them still live in the Camden area.
In the Kershaw County area.
That's correct.
That's fascinating. You said you're one of 7, Dick?
One of 7 members in my family.
That's fascinating.
And the amazing thing about it is, one of the things that motivated my entire family was the fact that my parents, while they did not have the opportunity to get a high school education even, all of our children got high school and college education. One of my sisters got her doctorate degree. She was county superintendent of education. And most of my sisters performed in the business world and excelled because of the push from our parents to give them a good education, encourage them to go as far as they could in education.
That's fabulous. They really made a commitment at an early age.
They did. And
I mean, for y'all at an early age to make that commitment for y'all to really focus on education.
And I guess growing up in a household like that and encourage education, and something else that my parents encouraged, we go to church on Sunday. And if we got out of line, they had certain ways that they would remedy the situation.
Yeah.
But those are some of the lessons early on that we learned. And as it relates to education today, At the end of a wonderful political career, if I could look back and say, I failed in everything I tried to accomplish with exception, I did not fail our children, our youth in education,
right.
and I did not fail our seniors in the handicap, in the golden years, in the handicap period, then I will feel proud about having been a part of our process in this country, this
Absolutely.
state.
Those are great words, Jack. Those are great words. What are some of the most striking memories you have of your youth? Was it just that, being in church and thinking about ways that your parents would keep you all in line, having 7 kids? What's that age, I mean, the youngest to the oldest there?
There was probably about 20 years difference
Is that right?
in
Wow.
the 7 children.
Right.
And things that I remember most was things about interaction of being with my classmates in school,
Sure.
playing basketball in high school, and being on a state baseball championship team.
Is that right?
And the wonderful time we had with athletics. While we were required both at school and home to study those books,
Right.
it was athletics, I guess, that really motivated me to make sure that I studied the books and enjoyed school in the meantime.
Right, and baseball was the one for you.
Baseball for me it was. When I went to college later, then I thought about playing baseball, but then I decided that maybe I should devote my full attention to the books and not to baseball. And so we didn't play athletics in college. I did play some golf in college, but no athletics from a college sanction standpoint.
Sure, sure. What originally brought you to the North Myrtle Beach area, Dick?
When I left Clemson, college in those days, now university, I was looking for a different life. And my parents had a farm, and they had a build supply business, and it was hard work. And I was looking for a different life, and the reason I went to school. And with electrical engineering, I thought about maybe going with Duke Power or DuPont or some of those companies.
Sure.
But then as I interviewed with them, and they told me what kind of awesome salary that I could make, and I would have 10 minutes in the morning break and 10 minutes in the afternoon, I'd have 2 weeks vacation here, and all of these benefits, I said, wow, you know, if I went in business for myself,
Right.
I used my time more effectively, and I worked more than 40 hours a week, maybe I could accomplish a lot more than I could working for someone else.
You really thought that at age 21 or 22? I mean, that came through your mind.
I did
That's
think
fabulous.
in those terms, and so therefore I came to the beach as a lot of college students came to, as we called it then, OD.
Uh-huh.
That's where the shagging was taking place, and the birthplace of the shag, and it was taking place back in the late 50s.
Sure.
I was in college. And so we'd come down, drive down with some buddies from Clemson during the weekend. And during that period, I met a elderly gentleman that was possibly 80 at the time that wanted to sell a real estate firm that I had been renting rooms from.
Is that right?
And so one day we engaged in a conversation. He said, I'm ready to retire. Why don't you buy this business? And so I thought about it for a couple of weekends, and later we engaged in a more serious conversation, and we had a handshake. I bought his business. He operated until I left Clemson, and I came down and went into real estate business, and never looked back and never regretted it.
That's fabulous. What year was that, Dick?
That was in 1959.
In 59. So you all are about to celebrate your 50th anniversary.
My wife, Ann, we've been married for 46 years. So it's been a wonderful marriage. Like most marriages, we've had our differences, but you know it takes 2 people to argue, and it takes normally the 2 people to settle that argument. Early on, we learned when we had the bumps in the road to get through them, and get through them in a hurry and move on.
Yeah.
And so we had a wonderful marriage, 3 wonderful children, and we're just so excited about the life we've had together.
Absolutely. And of course, you and Ann met not long after you founded Elliott Beach Rentals, was it? Elliott.
Actually, I met Ann long before I moved to the beach. I met Ann while she was a senior in high school. And I had graduated from high school, and before I went to college, And she had a relative that lived nearby. And she came over to my home one Sunday afternoon with a relative, and really she and her cousin wanted to borrow my car. And of course, after that discussion, I thought she was an attractive young lady.
Yeah, yeah.
And I told her that maybe I could go to the movie with them.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
so that started a romance, and she went to Limestone College. And
right.
I went on off to college, so we got back together about the time we were juniors in college, and
sure.
We renewed that romance after a few dates back when she was senior in high school.
That is a story I've never heard, Dick, nor an everyday occurrence where a woman wants to borrow your car, and that opens the door for you all to have a relationship.
Well, that was the beginning of several dates in high school, and a wonderful marriage ultimately.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
It's been a great life.
That is fantastic. When of course, you think about the growth in this area, and obviously, again, your service in the state senate serves a very large area, but your early years of business, from the late 50s through the 60s into the 70s, now into the next century. Think about some of the changes in the North Myrtle Beach area over the last 50 years, Dick. What really stands out in your mind?
When I first came to the beach area back in the late 50s on weekends, you could travel down the beach and you see a whole lot more vacant lots than you saw buildings.
Right.
Both from the point in Cherry Grove all the way through South Myrtle Beach. And during the period in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s until today, you see that reversal. And very seldom now can you find a vacant lot that has not been developed over the years.
Right.
And having had the opportunity to see the Grand Strand develop almost from the very beginning of real growth to where it is today has been a marvelous and exciting venture.
Oh, yeah.
And further, having had the opportunity to be a part of that growth has really been something amazing to behold and be a part of.
Oh, I bet. Absolutely. And of course, you talked about, and that has been a dramatic reversal. Even our editorial this past week was about moderation in the Herald, It was about moderation, and oftentimes there's fears of even too much growth. But of course, you've seen it probably go up and then slow back down and then go up again over the last 50 years. You've seen quite a bit of a change in the area.
Actually, Greg, we need to get a handle and set the pace on how fast we want to grow, and what area do we want to grow, and what type community do we want in the next decade, in the next 20, 30, 40 years. And unless we get a tight grip on some kind of planned, focused growth, we can build ourselves into an inescapable trap by which the quality of life in the Grand Strand community can actually recede. None of us want to see that happen.
No, no.
If you recall over the years, I have the opportunity, take the opportunity to go to Florida in the wintertime, look at that really warm southern sun occasionally.
It's there.
I've seen Miami Beach, for instance. I've seen it grow itself into that inescapable trap.
Oh, yeah.
In recent years, we've seen the South Strand, South Beach area in Miami. We've seen it come back with a different type of growth, a new direction with entertainment, this sort of thing. But it actually went over the hill and started decaying.
Oh, yeah.
Terribly bad about 20 years ago. And it had to go through that renewal process.
Right.
But if we do our job, if we do our homework today in the Grand Strand, we can prevent ourselves from getting to that decaying city. I think we're too wise, we're too visionary, we're too smart to ever see that happen. But we've got to be on guard that we don't let that happen.